Welcome to our channel. Today, we will explore how the positive choices of Stoicism can transform your life. Discover the serenity in accepting reality, the richness of the present, and the freedom of detachment. Learn to control your emotions, live virtuously, and cultivate deep relationships. Let's embark on this journey of self-knowledge and transformation together, inspired by the teachings of the great Stoic philosophers. Find a comfortable place and get ready to be inspired. Let's begin. When the sun rises, bathing the world in its golden light, we have a new day full of possibilities before us. It is at this moment that the acceptance of reality becomes a beacon for our journey. Imagine a sailor facing a fierce storm at sea. He cannot control the strength of the winds or the size of the waves, but he can adjust his sails and maneuver his boat skillfully. This is how accepting reality works for us. Accepting what we cannot change is like adjusting our sails to navigate the turbulences of life with serenity. Resisting reality, on the other hand, is like rowing against the current. The more we fight against the inevitable, the more tired and worn out we become. Accepting reality is an act of courage and wisdom. It is recognizing that certain things are beyond our control and that our power lies in how we respond to them. It is finding peace amidst chaos, like a garden blooming in the middle of a desert. This understanding frees us from the weight of frustration and anger. By accepting reality, we begin to live with more lightness and clarity. This state of acceptance allows us to focus on the present, the only moment truly within our reach. And, by being present, we perceive the richness that each instant can offer. Focusing on the present is like watching a bird in full flight, appreciating the grace and freedom of its movements. By concentrating on the now, we set aside worries about the past and anxieties about the future. Each moment becomes an opportunity to experience life in its fullness, like a work of art being painted before our eyes. In this presence, we find the true essence of being. With an open heart and a clear mind, gratitude naturally arises. Feeling gratitude is like finding small hidden treasures in daily life. By practicing gratitude, we realize that even in the simplest moments there is unparalleled beauty. This practice leads us to a deeper connection with life, recognizing and valuing everything we have. And, as we immerse ourselves in this state of gratitude, we begin to question the value of material possessions. Deep down, true wealth lies not in the objects we accumulate, but in the experiences and emotions we live. Letting go of material attachment is making space for true freedom and inner peace. In the heart of a dense and ancient forest, where the song of birds mixes with the whisper of the trees, lies the essence of focusing on the present. It is in this serene and timeless environment that we learn the importance of living in the now. Imagine a stream flowing peacefully, reflecting the sunlight in its crystal-clear waters. Each drop of water follows its path unhurriedly, without worrying about what lies ahead or what is left behind. This is how we should be, living each moment as if it were the only one. When we let go of the chains of the past and the shadows of the future, we discover a new dimension of life. Focusing on the present is like walking barefoot on warm sand, feeling each grain between our toes, each breath of wind on our face. This practice allows us to appreciate the hidden beauty in the simplest details and invites us to savor life in its fullness. With each step, each breath, we find a universe of possibilities. The present is a gift that continuously unfolds before us. When we are truly present, our worries dissipate like mist at dawn. It is like watching a butterfly landing on a flower, dancing gracefully without thinking about the next flight. In this state of presence, everything becomes more vivid, more real. The present transforms into a refuge of peace where we can recharge our energies and renew our spirit. The practice of focusing on the present also teaches us to value what truly matters. Instead of being dragged by the currents of incessant thoughts, we learn to anchor our mind in the here and now. This skill allows us to face challenges with more clarity and calm. Imagine an archer who, aiming at his target, focuses solely on the moment of release, without being distracted. In this way, we become more effective and tranquil in our actions. And, as we deepen this practice, a sense of gratitude naturally arises. Being present reveals the abundance that surrounds us. We realize that even in the most routine situations, there are reasons to be thankful. Gratitude wells up like an inexhaustible spring, nourishing our spirit and illuminating our path. This powerful feeling connects us deeply with life and prepares us for the next stage of our journey. In this dance between presence and gratitude, we begin to see that our material possessions, often overvalued, lose their importance. True wealth lies not in the objects we accumulate, but in the depth of the experiences we live and the serenity we cultivate within. And so, we open up space to explore the true freedom that detachment brings. Before we continue, if you are enjoying the content, leave your like on the video. It's quick and will help YouTube recognize that our content is relevant and recommend it to more people who can benefit from these ideas. In a small village nestled between mountains, lived an old sage known for his wisdom and serenity. Every day, he sat on a wooden bench in the central square, watching life go by with a tranquil smile on his lips. One day, a young traveler approached, carrying a heavy backpack and a worried expression. The young man asked the sage what the secret to a happy and fulfilling life was. The sage, with eyes shining with kindness, replied, "Gratitude, my young friend, gratitude for every little detail of life." Gratitude is a powerful feeling, capable of transforming our perception of the world. It is like a magical lens that reveals the hidden beauty in the simplest things. Imagine waking up early and feeling the warmth of the morning sun on your face, hearing the birds sing, smelling the fresh aroma of coffee. Each of these moments, as simple as they may seem, is a gift to be appreciated. When we cultivate gratitude, our view of the world expands and fills with colors and light. By practicing gratitude, we begin to see that even challenges and difficulties bring valuable lessons. Each obstacle overcome, each tear shed, strengthens and shapes us. It is like a plant that grows stronger after a storm. Gratitude teaches us to recognize the value of these experiences and to face them with an open and resilient heart. This feeling makes us more human and compassionate, both with ourselves and with others. The practice of gratitude also connects us more deeply with the people around us. When we express gratitude, we create bonds of affection and recognition. A simple "thank you" can brighten someone's day and strengthen connections. It is like a seed that, planted with care, blooms into a beautiful friendship or harmonious relationship. This continuous cultivation of gratitude transforms our interactions with the world, making each encounter an opportunity for genuine exchange. And so, as we dive into this journey of gratitude, we begin to reflect on the true value of the things we possess. Often, we are tempted to measure our happiness by what we have, accumulating material goods in the hope of filling an inner void. However, gratitude shows us that true wealth lies in the experiences and emotions we live, in the moments of connection and joy we share. It is a constant reminder that the abundance of life is not measured by the material but by the depth of our appreciation. Understanding this, we begin to question the real value of material possessions and free ourselves from the attachment they bring. This process of detachment does not mean giving up everything, but rather finding a balance that allows us to live with lightness and freedom. And in this state of detachment, we find a new level of serenity and clarity, ready to explore the next chapter of our journey. In the heart of an ancient city, where narrow streets echoed stories from centuries past, lived a merchant known for his immense fortune. His palace was adorned with treasures from all corners of the world, and each room looked like an art gallery. However, despite his wealth, the merchant did not find peace. His days were consumed by worries about the security of his possessions and the maintenance of his status. One day, while walking through the market, he met a monk who lived modestly but radiated serene and unwavering joy. Intrigued by the monk's happiness, the merchant invited him for tea at his palace, seeking to understand the secret of his inner peace. Sitting in a luxurious garden, the monk looked around and, with a gentle smile, said, "You have many beautiful things here, but it seems they possess you more than you possess them." These words resonated deeply in the merchant's heart, like a bell awakening a sleeping city. The monk explained that detachment from material possessions does not mean living in deprivation, but understanding that true happiness does not depend on the goods we own. Possessions are like water in our hands, he said. Hold it lightly, and it will remain, but try to grasp it tightly, and it will slip through your fingers. The merchant realized that his incessant quest for more wealth was a trap that prevented him from appreciating life. Detachment brought a new perspective to the merchant. He began to simplify his life, donating what was not essential and rediscovering joy in small things. Each object released was like a broken chain, allowing him to breathe more easily. He found pleasure in simple moments, a sincere conversation, a tranquil sunset, the laughter of a child. The peace he sought in material possessions flourished in his soul, bringing him an unknown freedom. This transformation was not just an external change but a profound internal reconfiguration. The merchant began to practice gratitude for each present moment, finding wealth in experiences rather than possessions. His life became a living testimony that material detachment can open doors to a more vast and meaningful world. And with this new vision, he began to perceive the importance of controlling his emotions, like a garden that needs to be cultivated and cared for with dedication. By learning to free himself from attachment to material things, the merchant opened space in his mind and heart for a new way of living. He discovered that, instead of being a slave to his possessions, he could be the master of his emotions, controlling them with the same serenity that the monk demonstrated. And so, his journey continued, guiding him to the next essential lesson of Stoicism, the control of emotions. In a small village by the sea, lived a fisherman named Pedro. Pedro was known for his patience and wisdom, qualities that made him an exceptional fisherman. Every day, he faced the unpredictable waters of the ocean with unshakable calm, knowing he could not control the sea, but he could control his reaction to it. One day, during a fierce storm, Pedro lost his boat and everything in it. While others lamented his loss, Pedro maintained his serenity, saying, "I cannot control the storm, but I can control how I respond to it." Pedro's life was a living example of emotional control. He understood that our emotions, like the waves of the sea, can be turbulent and unpredictable, but we do not need to be swept away by them. Pedro compared his emotions to a wild horse. "You cannot stop the horse from running," he would say, "but you can learn to ride and direct it." This mastery over his emotions did not come easily. It was the result of years of practice and reflection, understanding the nature of his own emotional responses, and working to guide them wisely. In the eyes of the other villagers, Pedro seemed to possess an inner strength that few had. He faced challenges with a tranquility that inspired everyone around him. When a crisis arose, whether a poor harvest or a dispute between neighbors, Pedro was called to mediate. He knew that giving in to anger or fear only fueled chaos. Instead, he chose calmness, like a stable lighthouse in the midst of a storm. His presence was a reminder that true power lies not in controlling external events but in mastering our internal responses. One day, a young apprentice, admiring Pedro's composure, asked him how he managed to stay so serene. Pedro smiled and said, "The secret is to recognize that emotions are just visitors. They come and go, but you are the house. Do not let these visitors mess up your home." With this, Pedro taught the young man that instead of suppressing emotions, he should welcome them, understand them, and then let them go. This profound understanding helped the young man face his own internal storms with more clarity and control. As the young man learned to control his emotions, he began to practice virtue, inspired by Pedro's actions. The practice of virtue was like cultivating an inner garden, where each controlled emotion transformed into a flower of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. The young man realized that by mastering his emotions, he was paving the way for a virtuous life, where each choice reflected his deepest values. And so, the young apprentice's journey continued, always guided by the light of virtue that shone in the example of the old fisherman. The control of emotions opened doors to a world where the practice of virtue became possible and essential. With a clear mind and a serene heart, the young apprentice was ready to explore the importance of living with integrity, courage, and justice, following in the footsteps of Pedro and the ancient sages. If you are appreciating these valuable lessons and want to take your Stoic journey to the next level, we have something special for you. We present our ebook, Wealth and Wisdom, Stoicism as a Path to Financial Prosperity. This practical and inspiring guide combines ancient Stoic teachings with modern financial strategies to transform your financial life and develop a balanced and resilient mindset. For just $14.90, you can take the first step toward achieving financial prosperity and true balance. Do not let uncertainty and financial stress control your life. Invest in yourself today and discover the power of Stoic wisdom to achieve true wealth and financial serenity. The link to purchase is pinned in the first comment of the video. Take advantage of this opportunity. In an ancient monastery high in the mountains, lived a nun named Helena, whose life was an example of unwavering virtue. From a young age, Helena was drawn to the teachings of the great Stoic philosophers and dedicated her life to practicing integrity, courage, justice, and wisdom. Her presence in the monastery was like a fresh breeze on a hot day, bringing peace and clarity to everyone around her. The other monks saw her as a spiritual guide, a beacon of virtue amidst the tribulations of daily life. Helena believed that virtue was the essence of a full life. For her, living virtuously was not a choice but a sacred duty. She practiced integrity in all her actions, from the simplest tasks to the most complex decisions. Helena would often say, "Integrity is like a golden thread that weaves the tapestry of our life. Without it, the structure falls apart." Her commitment to truth and righteousness was so strong that she became a figure of unquestionable trust among her peers. Courage was another virtue that Helena cultivated fervently. She believed that true courage was not the absence of fear but the ability to act despite it. When a severe illness struck the monastery, many were terrified. But Helena, with her serene courage, cared for the sick without hesitation, comforting them and bringing hope. Her courage was like a bright flame, illuminating the darkest moments and inspiring others to face their own fears. Justice was also central to Helena's life. She treated everyone with fairness and respect, regardless of their position or status. When there were conflicts in the monastery, it was Helena whom everyone turned to for resolution. She listened attentively to each side and made just decisions, always guided by the principle that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. Her justice was a pillar that sustained harmony in the monastery, a living manifestation of what it means to live with fairness. Finally, wisdom was the virtue that crowned all others in Helena. She spent hours in meditation and study, seeking to understand the depths of existence and human nature. Helena shared her insights with the other monks, using metaphors and stories to convey her lessons. Wisdom, she would say, is like a lamp that lights the path of life. Without it, we walk blindly, stumbling in the dark. Her wisdom was not just theoretical but applied in every aspect of her life, guiding her actions and decisions. With Helena's example, the monks learned that the practice of virtue was a path to true fulfillment and happiness. They began to seek self-knowledge, inspired by the depth of Helena's wisdom. Knowing oneself, understanding one's own thoughts and emotions, became an essential journey for each monk. And so, the monastery flourished, guided by the light of Helena's virtues and the relentless pursuit of self-knowledge, a crucial step in the Stoic journey. In the depths of an ancient forest, far from the distractions of the modern world, lived a hermit named Elias. Elias had chosen seclusion to dedicate himself to self-knowledge, believing that true wisdom could only be achieved through introspection. His small wooden shelter was surrounded by tall trees and a bubbling stream, providing a perfect environment for reflection. Every day, at dawn, Elias would sit by the stream, listening to the sound of the flowing water as an invitation to explore the depths of his own mind. Elias understood that self-knowledge was the key to living a virtuous life. He spent hours in meditation, revisiting his past experiences and questioning his motivations. For him, each thought, each emotion was a mirror reflecting aspects of his true nature. Knowing oneself, he would say, is like descending a spiral staircase that leads to the center of our soul. Each step reveals something new, something essential. This inner journey strengthened him, making him more aware of his weaknesses and more confident in his strengths. During his meditations, Elias often confronted his faults and imperfections. Instead of criticizing himself, he embraced these aspects with compassion and understanding. He believed that accepting his imperfections was a crucial step toward personal growth. We are like trees, he reflected, our scars tell stories of resilience and learning. This process of self-acceptance not only made him more human but also more empathetic toward others. Elias's self-knowledge was not limited to solitary meditation. He kept a journal where he recorded his thoughts, emotions, and daily reflections. Each page was a window to his soul, a record of his personal evolution. By writing, Elias noticed patterns in his behavior and found new perspectives on his challenges. This habit of writing allowed him to navigate the complexities of his mind with more clarity and purpose. His journal became a map, guiding him through the vast territory of his own being. Inspired by Elias's quest, travelers and curious people began to visit the forest, seeking his advice and wisdom. Elias welcomed them with kindness, sharing his experiences and encouraging them to embark on their own journeys of self-knowledge. He taught that true peace and contentment could only be found within ourselves and that this quest was continuous and rewarding. His visitors left the forest with a renewed sense of purpose and a determination to explore their own depths. As Elias's visitors began their journeys of self-knowledge, many discovered the importance of cultivating positive relationships. They understood that by knowing themselves better, they could also improve the quality of their interactions with others. Relationships built on the foundation of understanding and empathy became deeper and more meaningful. Thus, Elias's inner quest planted seeds of connection and love, leading each person to value and nurture the relationships in their lives. In the small village of Serendip, where green hills met the blue sky, lived a young woman named Clara. Clara was known for her ability to cultivate positive and meaningful relationships with everyone around her. She believed that human connections were like the roots of a tree, invisible but fundamental for growth and stability. Clara spent her days listening to others' stories, offering sincere advice, and celebrating the joys and achievements of her community. Clara understood that each person who crossed her path was a universe in themselves, full of unique experiences and emotions. When someone sat beside her, she would envelop them with full attention, as if they were the only person in the world at that moment. Her gaze, warm and welcoming, conveyed a clear message: you are important, and your words have value. This simple act of presence created a safe space where people felt understood and respected. One day, during the village's annual festival, Clara organized a large circle of conversation where everyone was invited to share a special memory or a dream for the future. As each person spoke, something magical happened. The bonds between the community members strengthened, like silk threads intertwined in a precious fabric. There was laughter, tears, and applause, and Clara watched with a serene smile, knowing she was witnessing the building of a mutual support network. These connections that Clara helped form were not just superficial but rooted in values like empathy, respect, and solidarity. She believed that positive relationships were essential for facing life's challenges. Like trees in a forest, she would say, we grow stronger together, supporting each other through storms and celebrating the sunshine. Her vision was of a community where each person felt seen, heard, and valued. However, Clara also knew that maintaining positive relationships required continuous effort and dedication. She practiced forgiveness, understanding that everyone makes mistakes and that reconciliation is an act of love. When conflicts arose, Clara acted as a mediator, bringing understanding and harmony. Her gentle yet firm approach was a constant lesson that with patience and open communication, even the deepest wounds could be healed. Her ability to forgive and ask for forgiveness was one of the many reasons she was so beloved and respected. Inspired by Clara's presence, the residents of Serendip began to value their own relationships even more, nurturing them with care and attention. They realized that by strengthening their bonds with each other, they also strengthened themselves. Thus, Clara planted the idea that to truly thrive, it was necessary to accept the inevitability of change, just as a tree must accept the passing seasons. In the village of Montclair, known for its lush landscapes and tranquil pace of life, lived a wise woman named Sophia. Sophia was a woman who had lived through many seasons and knew that life was in constant change. From a young age, she had learned to accept the impermanence of life, understanding that everything, from blooming flowers to falling leaves, follows a natural cycle. Accepting change, for Sophia, was like breathing, a necessity for living in peace. Sophia often shared her wisdom with the village's youth, gathering them around a campfire on cold nights. Change is the only constant, she would say with a serene smile, and resisting it is like trying to hold on to sand slipping through your fingers. She told stories of her own life, of losses and gains, of joys and sorrows, always highlighting how each change shaped and made her grow. Her serenity in the face of changes was an inspiration to all who knew her. One of Sophia's favorite stories was about an old oak tree that grew near her house. For years, the oak resisted the fiercest storms and the most relentless seasons, standing firm and majestic. But even the oak, Sophia would say, needs to adapt to changes. Its roots deepen, its branches bend to the wind, and it sheds its leaves so new ones can grow. This metaphor deeply touched the hearts of the listeners, showing that flexibility and acceptance were essential for survival and growth. Accepting change also meant for Sophia the ability to find beauty and purpose in each new phase of life. She saw each transition as an opportunity for learning and renewal. When spring arrived, bringing flowers and promises of new beginnings, Sophia reminded everyone that just as nature renews itself, we too have the ability to reinvent and flourish. This optimistic view helped many face their own changes with courage and hope. Behind Sophia's wisdom was the constant practice of letting go of what no longer served, whether an old habit, a limiting belief, or even a relationship. She believed that detachment was a way to create space for new experiences and opportunities. It's like cleaning a house, she would explain. You need to get rid of what is unnecessary so that the new can enter. This practical and philosophical approach allowed her and those around her to live more lightly and fully. The acceptance of change, taught by Sophia, prepared everyone to understand that life is a continuous flow and that resisting this flow only brings suffering. And so, with open hearts and serene minds, the residents of Montclair were ready to embark on their own journeys, where serving others became a natural extension of their personal growth. At the top of a hill, with a panoramic view embracing the horizon, there was a small temple dedicated to the goddess of compassion. There lived a man named Miguel, who had dedicated his life to serving others. Miguel believed that the greatest purpose of life was to help others find their own light. He was like a lighthouse on stormy nights, always ready to guide and offer his helping hand to those who were lost. Miguel spent his days in a simple yet profoundly meaningful way. Every morning, he walked through the village, distributing bread he had baked himself and offering words of encouragement. True service, Miguel would say, is not just in grand gestures but in the small daily actions that show care and love. His generous heart and constant presence made him a pillar in the community, someone everyone trusted and sought in times of need. One day, during a fierce storm that left many houses damaged, Miguel organized a group of volunteers to help rebuild what was lost. He worked tirelessly alongside others, his energy and enthusiasm contagious to everyone around him. When we help others, he would say, we not only improve their lives but also fill our own hearts with joy and purpose. His philosophy was clear: by serving, we find true human connection and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Miguel's impact on the village went beyond physical actions. He also offered listening and comfort to those who were emotionally shaken. Miguel believed that serving others included being present in body and soul, offering a friendly shoulder and comforting words. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give is our presence, he explained. And so, on quiet nights, he would sit with those who needed to unburden, listening attentively to their stories and offering wise advice. Through his actions, Miguel taught that serving others is a practice that enriches both the giver and the receiver. He showed that by dedicating ourselves to the well-being of others, we cultivate a more compassionate and united world. It was this spirit of service that began to transform the village, creating a community where each person felt valued and cared for. Miguel believed that this sense of community and mutual support was the foundation for a harmonious and full life. As the village flourished under Miguel's example, people began to understand the importance of also dedicating themselves to self-knowledge and personal growth. They realized that to serve others authentically, it was essential first to know themselves and cultivate a heart full of gratitude and detachment. And so, each person's journey in the village continued, always in search of a life of virtue and serenity. If you enjoyed this video and found value in our discussions on how to achieve happiness and self-realization through moral virtue and serenity, I have a special request for you. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content. Each video is made with great care to bring deep and practical reflections on how to live a fuller and more conscious life. By subscribing, you will be supporting the growth of our channel and helping spread Stoic philosophy to more people. Additionally, if you liked the video, don't forget to leave your like. Your support is essential for YouTube to recognize that our content is relevant and recommend it to more people who can benefit from these ideas. And last but not least, share this video with friends, family, and on your social networks. Together, we can create a strong and engaged community where everyone can learn and grow together. Thank you very much for your support and for being part of this Stoic journey with us. See you in the next video.